I will say, it's very impressive how much lack of respect I now have for PlayStation. It's no secret that PlayStation has lost many, many fans as, respect over these past couple of months. But I haven't given this the respect that it deserves. So here I am now to discuss why or possibly how my disappointment is the way it is. I've been a PlayStation fan for many, many, many years. It has always been my favorite console. I wasn't like most kids. I didn't grow up with Nintendo and Mario and Metroid and all these things. I was a PlayStation kid. I grew up with Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank, you know what I mean? Things like fucking Sly Cooper, a lot of platformers, obviously, Jak and Daxter. Even my first ever Sonic game was the PS2 port of Sonic Unleashed. Like, I was a major PS2 kid, God of War, I was a PlayStation kid. I've always been. Even when the PS3 generation came around, I played Twisted Metal for the first time, you know what I mean? Like, Last of Us, you know what I mean? I'm a PlayStation guy, what can I say? And it stung a lot to me when PlayStation decided to pull the plug on CDs themselves, which really sucked because people like physical media. Even I like collecting. If a game truly is special to me, I'm willing to spend that extra money to buy a physical copy. And what's profoundly odd to me is that PlayStation would rather stick up the middle finger to that audience of people who are willing to buy their games twice, just so they can get people to buy them digitally so they can have full control. Because at the end of the day, that's all this thing is. You know what I mean? People have come up with their own reasons, their own headcanons on why this thing might be the way it is. But I personally believe that the reason why PlayStation got rid of physical media is because of greed. They want full control over the entire platform. There's a reason why most physical games or games in general come with so much DRM nowadays. They're trying to stop pirating. They're trying to stop people copying and shit. They want to have greed. They want to have full control. They want to make sure that everything that you do is via their PlayStation Store. Everything you buy is via the PlayStation Store. They want full control. At the end of the day, that's what these companies want. They want full control over their environment and what's going on. And I think that is a severely bad thing to do, because at the end of the day, what were most consoles useful for? Besides affordability. I'm going to get into affordability. But what do you think most consoles were used for? They were used for physical games. That's always been the thing, is physical games. Especially to people who own a PC. Like me, I own a PC. The only reason why I'd ever buy a fucking console game is that either A, exclusive, and I really, really, really fuck with it, or 2, because it had a physical release. And nowadays, most of the time, it's because of physical releases. At this point, it really is just physical releases. The only reason why I'd ever buy a game, you know what I mean? And it sucks that ability is being taken away from, consumers. I mean, you don't hear about this shit in any other fucking entertainment. Why all of a sudden video games? Video games are younger than television. They're younger than music. They're younger than fucking movies. But still, you can buy physical Blu-ray movies. You can still buy physical vinyls, and you can buy discs for music, and you can fucking buy physical Blu-ray discs for TV shows. So what is the big whoop about not giving players the ability to do that? Okay, Sony invented the Blu-ray, okay? Like, Sony is way ahead of its time. You know why they're doing this? Because it's greed. And because shifting trends. And that's another topic I wanted to get into. Because now PlayStation, after all this backlash, they took that little hiatus from Twitter, they're now doubling down on it and saying, well, that's just the way it is. We're even going to announce when we're going to be shutting down our production. And like, these companies are getting laid off, and people's jobs are being laid off at these facilities that provided this. Like, they are doubling and quadrupling down on their decision. And I guess in a weird sense, I kind of respect them for that, but it's unfortunate because there were genuinely people who bought these games wanting them both digitally and physically. That's double the sales. And you would think, rational person, call me Mr. Rational, of course. You would think that with games becoming digital, that means they would get, I don't know, cheaper? No, of course not. No, you Neanderthal. Are you stupid? They're not going to get cheaper at all. They're going to get more expensive. I mean, check out GTA 6. Even though I am buying this game, I'm full aware that it is way above the price range for most normal games. Now, I will make a counter argument and say that, well, the game has been in development for a very long time and it's made by a very, very prestigious developer. However, though, we also haven't seen gameplay, which we will see gameplay soon, so, I don't know. I do know this. If you pre-ordered the game before you saw gameplay, you are pretty dumb. I've said that in the past when I talked about GTA 6, like when they did the whole pre-order reveal, I did say that, and I will continue to say this. Do not pre-order this game until you see gameplay. I don't care what anybody has to say. I will never pre-order any game unless I see gameplay, period. No, most studios don't even put their pre-orders live before they reveal gameplay. Rockstar was the only one that was able to get away with this shit, and the general public just sucked their dicks. That is the reality of the situation. But I don't think that you should pre-order games that don't fucking have gameplay, especially GTA 6. I mean, come on, man. We all want this game to be good, but I also want to see gameplay before I spend my hard-earned money on what's actually going on. So it is sad, and I also see a lot of stupid people blaming Rockstar for the whole no disc fiasco. But I those people clearly don't understand the industry. They don't understand how these companies work and all that stuff. So I think it's really naive to say that Rockstar is the reason why these things are happening. Now, could it have made a deal with PlayStation that they were going to be the first one to be a digital game? Sure. I mean, we don't know. We're never going to know. Okay, I'm not denying it, but it's just, come on, man. PlayStation is clearly the provider. Okay, of the platform for them to make their games physically on them. PlayStation has control over what gets made for their consoles. That's the reality situation. Microsoft and Xbox have way more power than most of these developers do because they provide the platform for those discs to be made on, to be played on. I mean, it's just the way it is. So, PlayStation, of course, doubled down on their disc fiasco, and I don't think Xbox is. I don't think. I do think Xbox is going to follow up soon. Honestly, if me and my buddy, we were actually talking, and I said this. I said, what were the odds that maybe Xbox and PlayStation were on a phone call and they were like, okay, so we're going to tell the public, by the way, we're going to be dropping, disc completely. We're going to be getting rid of that shit, okay? And then Xbox was like, yeah, okay, bro, I got you, sure. We're going to do it at the same time. And then PlayStation's like, okay. I sent out my tweet. You sent out yours, and then the phone line just goes, and he's fucking Sony's like, oh fuck. That's truly what I believe. I think Xbox is gonna follow up soon, without a doubt. Though it would be smart. It would be very smart for Xbox to actually say, you know what, never mind, we're gonna keep discs. That would be fucking hilarious. That would be the most massive tables turned situation we've ever seen in gaming industry. Because we all know that back in 2013, Sony made fun of Xbox for trying to do the digital shit and the whole ownership thing. So it would be really funny for Xbox to do that. It would be very ironic for that shit to do that. And I see a lot of people defending Nintendo. And yes, I was unfortunately very corrected on Twitter when I said that Mario Kart World was a game key card game, which it was not. The full game is on the game key card. So you call me in a lie. Okay, I will admit, you call me in a lie. Okay, sure. Mario Kart World isn't a key card game. The full game's on the key card. Okay, sure. But it doesn't change the fact that there are still games on Nintendo Switch 2 that you can buy that do not have the full game on the disc. So they are not excluded from criticism. Stop sucking Nintendo's dick, okay? Stop sucking the wangs of these massive companies, okay? They don't give a fuck. Okay, they clearly want control, power, and money. That's all they give a shit about, okay? That's why at this point, I'm really just focused on the developers. At this point, I really only care about the studios. Insomniac, not really Naughty Dog, but Santa Monica, you know what I mean? Or fucking, what's the one that makes Ghost of Tsushima? I can't forget it. But the point is, I care more about the developers at this point than Sucker Punch. I care more, I think it's Sucker Punch. I don't know. Anyways, point is, I care more about, I think Sucker Punch is Horizon. Anyways, point is, I care more about the developers right now than I do about the fucking companies. I don't really give a shit. And I've mentioned on before and on Twitter, follow my page by the way. I've mentioned it plenty of times on Twitter, and I'll say it in this video too. If you truly want to save your credibility as a platform, and you want to show that you truly do want to unite the industry, but you still want to put up a good fight against the other competition, you know what most of these publishers, like these platform specific companies should do? Sony, Xbox, Nintendo. What they should do, in my opinion, this is a wild strategy. Okay, it's pretty fucking wild. That is a crazy strategy. Maybe you should offer Xbox kind of already does this, but you should open your storefront on PC. Why won't you just host the PlayStation Store, the Nintendo eShop, you know what I mean, on PC? Then you can allow your exclusives to exist on that platform. And then you can start challenging Steam, and then we'll have an actual fair competition that isn't bound by fucking money. Well, at least not money. I mean, but it won't be bound by platform. You know what I mean? No, players, us gamers, okay? Hey, gamers. I hate using that word, but people who enjoy video games. We would win. We would win in the long run because it means that no longer will games be held back and exclusive to $500, $600, $700, and a few years, fucking $1,000 consoles. If you have a PC, you can play the fucking game no matter what. You don't have to upgrade every couple of years. You know what I mean? I hate the argument of PC isn't accessible. PC is very accessible, especially nowadays with how expensive shit is getting. It is very accessible. So I don't want to hear that baloney, that malarkey, that PC isn't exclusive. Or not exclusive, but isn't accessible. It is very accessible. I think that is the future that these console manufacturers could take. They could open up their own storefronts on PC and offer their own discounts, their own benefits, their own fucking exclusives, and actually challenge the biggest one, the top dog, Steam. That would be fucking crazy. It's it's mind-blowing how fucking wild that would be. And it would get rid of this console loyalty bullshit. I mean, it's so fucking simple. I can't believe we went backwards. We now have Steam trying to make a console to compete against Xbox and fucking Nintendo and PlayStation at this point. You know what I mean? That's where we're getting to. Steam had to come over their fence. They had to come over to the other fence in order to fucking even stand a chance. I mean, I don't get the console market currently. I don't. I've been making the transition to PC for a while now, and I was needing a good reason to switch to PC completely, and hearing the execution and slow death of physical media, like actual games, was enough for me personally. I founded this channel, not even a year ago at this point, talking about physical media, talking about nostalgic classics, talking about PS2 games, talking about stop killing games, talking about how these companies are ruining these games and are not supporting them, not even giving them offline patches, not giving the source code to the community. They're just shutting these bastards down, and then that's it. People's money and time and memories wasted. Well, maybe not memories, but you get my idea. I've been fighting for this shit for a year now, and seeing PlayStation do this, a company that I had a lot of loyalty to. I loved PlayStation, man. It's still my favorite console, even at the end of the day. Even after all the bullshit they've done recently, they're still going to be my favorite because I have those memories with PlayStation that I'm going to hold near and dear to me for the rest of my life. Yeah, of course, I have good memories with Xbox and even Nintendo a little bit, not so much. I've always been an avid hater of Nintendo. I'm not gonna lie, but Xbox and PlayStation, yes, I've always loved both. I have great memories of fucking Halo on Xbox, and even the PC ports, or not the PC port, but the console ports of Left 4 Dead. You know what I mean? I love Xbox, but of course, I've always loved PlayStation a little bit more. Just saying, Gran Turismo, Jack and Dexter, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, God of War. The list goes on. Melee, God of War, and Ratchet and Clank. You get my idea, though. I've always been a PlayStation kid. Always been a PlayStation fan. As you see, when I play games on my console, it's I got it sitting right here. PlayStation 5. I think PlayStation 5 is the standard for consoles, you know what I mean? But it is going to be interesting to see what the PS6 is going to be like. I'm not buying that shit. I don't care what they got to offer. I don't care what exclusives. I'm not buying that shit. I sure shouldn't get the money for it. I would much rather buy upgrades for my PC personally. I just would rather. I actually think you own your games more on PC anyways at that. Like we are seriously going to get to a point where you're going to have to buy Blu-ray discs and you're going to buy a disc drive for your fucking games and you're going to have to burn those suckers onto the discs, okay, and then find a plastic box, find a label, and put that shit on there. We're going to start burning games again. This is what we're going to get to. We're going to have to start burning games again just to have them physically. This is seriously what's going to happen in the future. And honestly, like I said, I think you own your games on PC much more often than you do on consoles. I think PC offers better benefits. I think PC just has an overall better experience that can be upgraded part by part. You don't have to buy a whole fucking console. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay to play your games online. There's a lot of benefits that come from PC personally, and I've been needing a good reason to switch, and now I do have a reason. Now, of course, you guys know I'm still going to be buying a couple of PlayStation games as of recently. You know, Wolverine's coming out, and I definitely want to play that, mainly because I support Insomniac, and it is a physical release of the game, so as long as it's physical, I will buy it. And then obviously GTA 6, which is only coming out digitally on PS5. And unfortunately, I can't wait a year to play GTA 6. So they got me there. You got me, Rockstar. Okay, I can't lie. I talk a lot of shit. But I never said I was perfect. And I never said, like, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to flat out tell you, and I've been saying this, I'm still going to buy GTA 6. But that also means I can still criticize it. You can criticize something and still love it. That's the thing. You don't always have to be extreme. It's not either one or the other, yes or no, black and white. You can be nuanced. You can still love things, and you can still criticize them. Fucking God forbid, right? But anyways, yeah, PlayStation is just doubling down. They're just doubling down on their decisions to do all this bullshit, and I just get a PC. Just like, trust me. You don't need no fucking console, okay, dude? PC is so simple. Steam is fucking amazing. They have discounts all the time. You know what I mean? Just trust me. Do your research before you open your mouth. But let's be honest, most people are not going to do that. So, anyways, though, that's all I have about. See ya.